Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the More Listings Mastermind, a real estate podcast. We meet weekly. Today, April 15th, we've got a great show for you today. Josh Ainley and James Brown, coaches in our organization. These guys are just top notch, providing some really great services for our agents. LeadDeck and a three-step process panel, power, listings, and leadership. You can see it here Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. You can join us live by going to morenowlistings.com. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and get started with this real quick. Who am I? My name is Robert Weichelt. I'm the host of the More Listings Mastermind since 1986. Josh, you know, it's 1986. That was 40 years ago when I started in the real estate business. And we literally wrote contracts with pen and a 8.5 by 11 paper. We press hard. There's 3 copies. We'd peel it off. I'm getting goosebumps because I'm aging myself. It's amazing.
I'm not going to mention how old I was.
Yeah. No, I would appreciate if you didn't. That'd be great. I've been helping sellers, thousands of sellers, countless agents succeed in every type of market. I call it the ups and downs and all arounds of real estate. Each week, I want to bring you tools and systems that you can help you grow your business. As a broker, trainer, mentor, my mission is simple, guys. I want to empower others to grow, win, and lead with purpose. That is my constant theme. You'll always hear me say the same thing. That's all that matters to me, is helping agents take more now listings. I want listings today. I'll work on those, and then I'll work on tomorrow's listings. I work with FSBOs, expireds, and pre-foreclosures. That's my area of expertise. I help agents all over the country do just that. We sprinkle in AI, we sprinkle in systems, we sprinkle in all kinds of great stuff, and you're going to hear more about that today. We also want to work with the pre-foreclosure market because I think it's important that we reach out to that segment of the market and let them know that they're not alone. We want to help them, save their home if they can, and if they can't, we want to be able to guide them through a successful closing. What it does also is it sets us up for the REO and distressed property market, corporate sellers. So that is kind of what I coach, train, and mentor, and that's my area of expertise. I always like to ask, are you working with AI right now? Is it completely overwhelming? Do you feel like you need to do everything? Do you use chat? Do you use Claude? Do you use this? Do you use that? What do you do? Oh my God, there's so many things. So put in the chat box, are you working with AI? Also put in the chat box, are you working with the FSBO, expired, and pre-foreclosure market? The reason why I ask, that is the lowest hanging fruit on the seller tree. So with that said, I always like to start off with a motivational quote. This is something when I first got into the business, I went up to University Town Center, the mall up there, and I went into Successories. And the first thing I purchased was a picture of Vince Lombardi. And I still have it in my office today. And this is 40 years ago. I did this, like one of the first things I ever bought in real estate. And the quote was this: the only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. And you got to let that sink in real quick. Everybody wants instant gratification. They want success right away, but you need to put in some sweat equity. My dad told me the first day I got in the business, he said, son, it works if you do. And I use that quote all the time. So those are kind of what I'd like to get started with. I'm going to go over a couple of housekeeping items, and then we're going to get started with our program. This is the More Listings Mastermind. It's a real estate podcast. We meet each week. And people ask me, why would I meet every week? Well, it's simple. If you want to take more listings in 2026, this is the place to be. Each week, we provide proven systems to win more listings, generate multiple offers fast. And we talk about cash offers. We talk about better ways to sell a home, maximizing seller profits. I've never had a seller say, Robert, if you can get me the least amount of money for my home, I'd appreciate it. Never once. We want to work smarter, not harder. We want to tap into the tools that are available. And again, we meet every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. You can join us live via Zoom, no registration, none of that stuff. You just go to morenowlistings.com and you'll be let in. So I always like to start off with these 5 habits. The folks that have jumped on these calls with me multiple times, they know it's the same thing every week, and that's just the way it is. When you go to the gym, you stretch before you start working out. This is the stretching before we start to work out. Number 1, the 5 habits that'll help you grow your business starting today. Write these down. Number 1, lead generation, no exceptions. Block out 90 minutes minimum for focused prospecting. Number 2, track and measure your numbers. What gets measured gets improved, guys. Track and measure your numbers, super important. Number 3, set appointments daily. Setting an appointment daily with a buyer or a seller, it should be a red flag in your business. Number 4, follow up like a pro. 80% of the conversions happen in the follow-up. Not everybody is ready to rock and roll the first time you meet them. You need to stay in touch. You need to have a system that you follow up. You've heard it. Fortune is in the follow-up, guys. And number 5, sharpen your skills. Role play, study scripts, work on objections, watch top agent content, really pay attention to what's going on, become a student of the game. Tom Ferry put this out not too long ago, approaching expired listings. Do you know that 78% of sellers list with the first agent that calls them after they've expired? That's a big number. I like those numbers. I like expireds because they've already shown that they're ready to put in a 6-month relationship. That's what most listing contracts go for. I do a 14-day online offers platform, which is awesome. So if you're not calling and talking to FSBOs and expireds, you're missing a big segment of the market. Now, when I mean call, you can text, you can send smoke signals. I don't really care what you're doing. Whatever's the most efficient for your business that's getting you the best results. But who do you contact? I put in the chat box, and I'll make sure I add it again. My Plus Leads is who I go to for FSBOs, expireds, pre-foreclosures. I put together a 14-day free trial. Check it out. Word of caution: do not sign up for that 14-day free trial unless you're ready to get going. Because what happens is you sign up and then you don't get started for 14 days, then it bills your credit card. So if you want to get started with FSBOs, expireds, and pre-foreclosures, this is the best way to go. Cash offer solution. If you don't have a cash offer solution, I can tell you this: 100% of the sellers think they want a cash offer until they see that cash offer. Very few of them, less than 10%, go even the cash offer solution that's provided to them. But what it does, 100% of them want a cash offer. And if you do not have a cash offer solution, I can guarantee that you're not going to continue in that conversation. So you need to at least have a cash offer solution for the ones that think they want it, and then you can pivot them to a better way to sell. I put together a free 14-day trial for that as well. iList, I'm telling you what, it is amazing. Instant cash offers. It takes like 3 to 5 seconds to get a cash offer, multiple cash offers on properties. So you can feel confident going into the FSBO and the expired market with a cash offer solution in advance, knowing that the low percentage go with it. Then you can pivot to an actual listing, a traditional listing, however you do that. Now, I want to point something out, and I'm just curious if anyone on this call, we just closed a transaction, my team and I. For 9 days on the market, we had over 10,000 views to Zillow. Now, that's a big number. If you go to your Zillow profile on the properties that you have listed right now, take a look at what your views are. What are your saves? Now, saves translate into open house traffic, usually. So 10,000 views, they get reminded all the time. But when they save the property, Zillow treats it like a CRM. They constantly are sending you reminders. Don't forget about this property. Open house on this property. Here's the change in the property. So it works as a CRM for you. 603 saves. That's a big number. Now, here's some of the traffic. This is Coach Kathy Ryan's property using the same exact platform. She had 884 people to her open house. Now, I don't know about you, but that's a big number. I've talked to people. I've never even heard anyone tell me they have had 80 people to their open house, let alone 884. So we're averaging, so for full disclosure, we're adding anywhere between 200 and 300 groups through the doors. That's a good number of people through the doors. More eyes equals more offers. Bottom line, we're using a transparent online offers platform. Pricing strategy is key. Transparent offers, transparent compensation. And I tell you what, we take all of our listings via Zoom. Are you efficient and effective with your business? The reason why I bring this up, and we'll get to our program here in just a second. The reason why I bring this up is being efficient and effective with your business. We are all allotted the same amount of time. Use it wisely. I use Zoom for every single listing appointment. I traveled the country for the last 2.5 years, my wife and I, in our RV, taking listings. Right from that top right photo was me down at the Strand taking listings right on the beach from my motorhome. So be efficient, be effective. So we had a good time with that. If you want to drive more traffic to your properties, I encourage you to reach out to me. I literally sit down with agents every single day on Zoom, walking them through what we're doing to help them drive more traffic to their listings, and more importantly, take more listings with FSBOs, expireds, pre-foreclosures. Of course, there's other power partners like attorneys and all that, but really focus in on the FSBOs, expireds, and the pre-foreclosure. That's the lowest hanging fruit. So that's what I wanted to kind of go into. And I think it's time to go into our program today. I'm super, super excited today. We've got two of our coaches in our organization, Josh Shanley and James Brown. Every time I see James Brown, I just want to go, James Brown. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop sharing my screen because we're going to get into this real quick. Coach James Brown, how are you, sir? What's going on?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks
So
for
let's do
having me
this.
on.
Let's do this. Let's tell the audience who's James Brown.
Well, let me first say that everything that you mentioned, the iList, the My Plus Leads, the online offers, I use all of that as well for a good reason. So amazing stuff.
Yeah.
So who I am, so I started out on the investing side, real estate, lease options, rent to own, and then I got my license after the fact. And then I met Josh early on and partnered up with him immediately. I was like, this guy is amazing. And he has continued to impress me. And so what he's going to share today, you'll see what he created and built with Sean, who actually built out the software. But it's a really cool system for getting leads and listings. Now listings.
Leads and listings. That's kind of what us agents all want, Josh. So why don't we do
leads,
this?
listings, and leverage? Leads, listings, and leverage. We can hit it all today, right? We can hit it all today.
Amen. That's what it's all about. So with that said, Josh, tell everybody, first of all, who's Josh Shanley?
Yeah, so I've been I also got started on the real estate investing side. I started 2004, 2005. I got licensed in 2007, primarily working with real estate investors. I was rookie of the year my first year being licensed. I was number one in transactions in my brokerage the second year. I fell in love with marketing, specifically direct response marketing. I hated trying to chase business. I hated begging friends and family, all this nonsense. And I just set on a course to figure out how to get business to come to me. I built several companies. I wrote an Amazon best-selling book. I did coaching and training and information products, et cetera, for many, many years. I got back into the business actively producing around 2019 and have been actively producing, selling, listing, and doing deals since then. And what inspired this session today, what inspired my co-founder Sean and I to build LeadDeck is taking something that was working for me, which is the slides that I put together for everybody, taking something that was working for me, but that was this Frankenstein together tech stack of all these different things that I was paying for, this over here and that over there and blah, 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 and all to hope that, or all with the goal of getting more conversations. In other words, more people coming and saying, yes, I would consider an offer, or yes, I am thinking about selling my property, or what's the offer that you have for me, all to get that. And so we built this so that you can do that with significantly less cost and less friction and do it right from your phone. We built it first and foremost to solve my own pain, my own frustration, my own problem. And now we're making it available to others, like those of you on here, if you are interested. Now, I also have a bonus training that you're going to have to get back to Robert for, which is specifically using LeadDeck for expired listings. But what I want to share today is the inspiration behind this, why it exists, and how it can save you money while also make you more effective and efficient. So I was feeling the pain of too many subscriptions. And we built this to help smart agents simplify their tech stack so they can close more transactions. Because if you want to close more transactions, first and foremost, you need to have more conversations. So if we can remove the friction for the number one thing that you need, if you want more contracts and closings, which is conversations, that's what we have set out to do. Many of you are paying for a whole bunch of different things. And in fact, I'm a big proponent of My Plus Leads. Okay? I love My Plus Leads. I had been paying for it for years. And I'll show you how you can use My Plus Leads with LeadDeck as well. But I was at a point where I was paying for a whole bunch of stuff. So you may be paying for LandVoice and RedX and Mojo or PropStream, PropWire, Batch Leads, Vulcan 7. I was paying for a software just for buyers, okay, just to have the local buyer activity. I was paying $250 per month just for that. And it was worth it because it was working and I was closing more transactions. For those curious, I've closed almost 30 in the last 6-ish months, right? So I'm actively doing the business. And that was helping me with that, but it was also costing me, a lot of money. And we built this thing, which I can pull the same data right in there. You might also be paying for any number of these other things, right? I don't know. Like there's an endless line of people and businesses trying to get into our wallets as real estate agents.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. So why are you paying for these? Well, if you're like me, you want to consistently close more transactions, which means we need to be consistently writing more contracts and making more offers, which means we need to consistently be having more conversations with people that want and need our help in some form or fashion. And that's why it's great to start with FSBOs and expireds and pre-foreclosures, because they're the ones that need our help the fastest. Now, that's directly or indirectly the reason why we pay for all of these things, right? The problem is the tools and techs, for the most part, are costing you money, or costing you in more than one ways. They're costing you money financially, right? Again, at the point before we went live with LeadDeck, late fall, I was paying any given month $1,200 to $1,800 per month just for subscriptions and tech and leads and so forth. So that's a real financial cost. It also has a mental cost. The decision fatigue of where do I go to log into, how do I get this and that thing and whatever? And I've got I've got this version of Go High Level, and then I've got this other version of Go High Level, and then I got this other place I got to log into. It just becomes overwhelming, which ends up meaning that we waste a ton of time, and time is our most precious resource, instead of actually talking to motivated buyers and sellers. Actually, the more time you actually are in conversation with those, that is like your highest dollar producing activity. How do I know? Because, again, I was paying for all this stuff. $1,200 to $1,800 per month, depending on, the month and the activity. It's why we built this. So that's me on the left. That's my buddy Sean on the right. I've known Sean for almost 20 years, almost as long as I've been licensed, maybe as long as I've been licensed. And he and I get together every so often. Now, he's not licensed. Susan was in the past, his wife. She's actually getting relicensed because of what we're doing. She's so excited about it. She has to go back and do the whole 90 hours again. But She's so excited, and Sean's so excited that she's willing to go through the pain of that. Anyway, Sean's more on the real estate investor side. He's a lender. He's funded deals for me. He's been a mortgage broker in the past, et cetera. And we get together every so often. I'm in Central PA, right? And look, it's beautiful. I can look out my window and I've got beautiful mountainsides and so forth, but it's not like a tech hub or like a buzzing metropolis, right? So it's hard to find like-minded people who are interested in the kind of stuff that I'm interested in. But Sean and I are like-minded in that way. And so he and I get together every so often for coffee, and we brainstorm and we mastermind. And late last summer, we're getting together, and he's sharing what he's working on. And he asked me, hey, what's working for you? And so I described to him this. Well, I do this and this and this and this and this. And then, if everything works right, I get somebody to say, yes, I'm thinking about selling, or what's the offer, or whatever. And, he's listening to me and looking at me, and his immediate direct quote is, that sounds like a goddamn nightmare. And what he was working on was building out he was doing some vibe coding and things of that nature. And I said, okay, smart guy, then let's fix it. And so we set on a path to fixing it. Now, full transparency, he's the one building the thing. I'm just telling him what it should do and why it should do and how it should do the different things. So it's a perfect match. And we've built this, which I'm very proud and excited to share with you all. We've built it. It's a work in progress, but I've been using it since November, and it's pretty freaking cool. And it's saving me a ton of money. Okay? Now, you may not be paying for all of these things, but you may have in the past at some point. And if you're not, you're probably not also, you're also losing out on potential business opportunity. We built the whole thing with this in mind. All you have to do is log on your phone. Okay? If you have a smartphone, you can use LeadDeck. You log in on your phone and you just tap to call, you tap to text, You tap to email. You literally tap your way to more conversations, more contracts, and more closings. This is actually the inspiration for the expired training, which get back to Robert, and I will get him a link that he can share. I have a specific training on how we are working expired listings with LeadDeck. This was the inspiration for that, which is a text message that David Glogger, EXPer in Houston, Texas, he sent me a couple of weeks ago. I think it's 2 weeks ago at this point, but doesn't really matter. About one expired listing that turned into 3 potential transactions, 3 potential listings, following the script that we recommend and the kind of like the Columbo last second script that we make sure that we ask at the very end, which is how we uncovered those additional listing opportunities. This is a post from our free school community. Janita, she's been using LeadDeck for a few months now, talking about a tour of a property that a cash offer is the best for them. She had already gotten a referral from one of these motivated sellers and then shared a few days later, good news, here we are 10 days later, signed a listing with a signed listing agreement. Campbell Haig talking about this is an incredible tool for real estate agents focused on growth. Highly recommend to any serious agent or agent serious about scaling their business. There's our guy, James Brown. Okay, controlling the chaos in this business is the main problem I run into. LeadDeck and the 3-step system for using it has given me the playbook, blah, blah, blah. You can read that. I'm not going to read this one to you, but this is a newer agent in Arizona, and she's had a ton of success with this. What does it look like to use the tool to actually get yourself into more conversations? And I'm gonna use My Plus Leads, for example. So if you're using My Plus Leads, you can take the data you're getting, you import it into the tool, you log in, and right here, we can tap to call. When we do, you get, this pops up on your screen. Now, I would show this, but when we show sensitive information, when we show contact information for people, then, YouTube doesn't like it, the internet doesn't like it. So I have names and numbers grayed out here to protect the innocent, okay? But I just want you to picture how this works. You're literally logged onto your phone, and you tap to call, and your phone is ringing. You tap to text, and the pre-populated script that you choose based upon the target audience, in this case, expired listings, which, by the way, I'm sure Robert has a great script. This script is killing it with expireds right now. Hey, Robert, this is Josh with eXp Realty. Are you still accepting offers for your property at 123 Main Street? That script it's the script that David used and is using on a regular basis, and it has worked incredibly well for me. You tap, and that's pre-populated. You literally 2 taps, and you send a text message. You 2 tap, and you send an email. And this is incredibly effective because the email is sent directly from your email client. This isn't sending 100 emails or 1,000 emails through your CRM or through Go High Level or whatever. The deliverability, the open rate, and the reply rate to this is like exponentially